Thank you so much for joining us today, Sujatha. So just let me introduce you to our audience. Sujatha here is a public speaking coach and trainer. She loves helping people get out of the stage, get out of their comfort zone, and literally be their best when they are on the stage. And I'm here with you also. My name is Diana Robertson. I'm the founder of Skillsme Academy, and we help with similar things, but not only in the stage, but also in personal communication. So how to be more proactive, how to sound more interesting, how to be more engaging when you talk to people, one-on-one or in a group. So the first question people are asking is, when they come on the stage, or even before they come to the stage, they feel very nervous. And my question to you is, now you have a lot of experience, if you taught so many people, and is there some common technique or tip that you could give to these people who constantly feel nervous before presenting in front of a group?
Yes, Diana, surely, and that is really an amazing question. And thank you for asking. Firstly, what happens, people, we got to understand one thing, that fear is normal, right? If you are having the stage fear, that doesn't mean that you are an abnormal person. We all are normal, right? So, see, if I tell you one thing, that fear is normal, and even a professional public speakers do have stage fear. We got to understand this. And if I talk about myself, even before every meeting, before every webinar, what I do, one of the exercise is that. This is personally I follow, and this is how I shred my stage fear. So what I personally do is that before I start any of my meetings, what I do is I play a song that calms me down. And other than that, all the girls like taking selfies. So what I do is that I click a selfie and I just admire myself that, dude, you're looking so cute. You're looking amazing. So when you pamper yourself, you shred your stage fear. That's one thing I personally follow it. Second thing is that frog breathing, right? We got to practice frog breathing. Now, why this name is called as frog breathing? This is it sounds little weird, but this is something I personally love it, frog breathing. Firstly, you got to visualize. It is little weird. I'm sorry, all audience, if you are listening today. Firstly, why it is called as frog breathing, that you got to visualize that frog is entering your mouth and it is stuck on your mouth. Okay, if you are, this is what it is. That's what I told you, that it's going to sound a little weird. You can visualize it as a burger in that place, and how much the burger is going to be, this much, right? So in that case, your mouth should open this much. Okay, once that is done, inhale. That is, when you do this, the airflow happens near your tummy. The airflow happens near your tummy, and when the airflow goes till your tummy, what happens basically, whenever we are nervous, we go red, we turn pink, our body starts heating, right? And that's where we go nervous, we go sweat very badly, and that's where this frog breathing helps you a lot. When you do this frog breathing, you inhale the air and that touches your tummy. So when that happens, what happens, that your body reduces the heatness. And that's where you become more confident. So this is one of the exercises that you can do, people, frog breathing. It calms your body down. It reduces the heatness of the body. And that's where you can present yourself confidently. Next strategy that I would tell you to reduce your stage fear is that reach early at the location. No matter if you're doing a virtual meetings because of this pandemic, or no matter you are going for the offline workshops, reaching early at the location is important, because as soon as you reach early, see, imagine that your workshop is going to start at 9 o'clock and you reach at the location exact at 9 o'clock. What's going to happen is that you will not have time to get adapted to the environment, right? When you don't get time to get adapted to the environment, you will start rushing. And that's where you will not feel confident, right? So it is recommended that you reach early at the location. It is recommended reach at least 15 to 30 minutes early. Mm-hmm. That's what it is important. And next thing, how you can reduce your stage fear is that by knowing your subject well. When you know your subject well, nobody can stop you. Nobody. That's what is the strategies that I personally follow, Diana.
All right. Thank you so much. I think they're very useful. Let me just repeat them. So first of all, to understand that fear is normal. Even professional public speakers have this fear. Second one is to do this breathing exercise where you imagine a frog and you breathe through a frog. And the idea is
this is a little funny.
Third one is to come early to the venue to make sure you don't rush things and things don't go bad. And finally, to make sure that you're an expert on your topic. That way, things will be much, much easier. Am I about
Correct.
right?
Correct.
All right. Okay.
Yes, you are. You are.
Well, you are right, I think. All right. And then comes the second question, which is actually relevant to knowing the topic. Now, a lot of people are not sure what's the right approach. Now, what happens sometimes is that they come on the stage and then they forget things, even if they knew their topic. So, and sometimes you even get the fear of just forgetting things when you come to the stage, because that happened before, and because of that, you are afraid of the stage even more. So the question is it okay to read from a script, or maybe read from the slides, just so you don't forget these things? What's your opinion about that?
Now that's an amazing question, Diana. And this is one of the common mistakes which people do, is that they memorize the speech. Never ever script your speech. I would never suggest you that, right? Now imagine that you have memorized your speech. You go on the stage, you forget that one word. What's going to happen? You get stuck. When you get stuck, you're going to lose your credibility. That's what it happens, that never memorize your speech. Now, what should I do, Sujatha? If I don't have to memorize my speech, then what should I do, right? Before that, I'll tell you what happened. That I'm not sure how many of you are here from Malaysia, but this is what I have heard from people from Malaysia. They say that here, our students are taught in the school that our students have to memorize the speech. And if they forget even a single word, they are deducted the marks. I'm not sure how it works in Malaysia. And this is what one of my clients has mentioned. See, if you memorize a speech, you lose your own self. You become robotic. You don't sound the person you are, right? And that's what the cheat sheet comes. Imagine there are two things. I'll just tell you two things. Firstly, go with cheat sheet. Now imagine that you don't have an option of PowerPoint presentations, right? So in that case, or maybe you just, what you can do with a cheat sheet, I call it as cheat sheet. Now what happens that, imagine that you have to give a presentation for next 1 hour. You have to give your presentation for next 1 hour. So there are two things. Firstly, either if you have an option of carrying the PowerPoint presentation, you have an option of projector at the venue, wherever you're going, go ahead, right? If not, then go ahead with the cheat sheet. Cheat sheet should be of just 1 page. Don't just do this way, like you have n number of pages, like you write it word by word, everything scripting, and like, oh my god, what is the next topic? What am I going to talk? Okay, where is this word? This will happen, and you will definitely not sound as an amazing speaker there, and you will sound again robotic, and you will make fun of yourself over there. So have a cheat sheet. Now what you are going to do in this cheat sheet is that all the pointers, that is bullet point, right? What are the main headings that you want to tell? And by just looking at that, you will recall that, okay, this is what it is, and you got to just explain it. You don't have to read it word by word, right? So write down the bullet points. Maybe it can be of 10 to 12 points. Write down in a bold letter, so that even though if it is in front of me, little far, maybe 1 meter distance, so just glancing at it, I should know that this is the next point I want to tell. Rather than looking, okay, what's the next word, and you're reading it, and your audience are noticing that what is she looking in the paper. This is one of the things. So always and always, if you have a long presentation, go with cheat sheet. If not, structure your speech. Now I'll tell you one thing, Diana, that why people forget their speech on the stage, because they have not structured their speech. When you don't structure your speech, you have to remember your speech. That is, you have to memorize your speech. When you memorize your speech, you will forget your speech. So it is important that structure it well, understand that what comes next, right? So you got to know the flow of your speech. That okay, now there should be connectivity between your speech. That okay, this is the point now I'm talking about. Now there is a next pointer, right? And the next thing is that instead of memorizing it, understand, like I already told you. Other than that, add stories, personal stories. When you add personal stories, there is no way that you forget your speech. There is no way that you forget your speech. Don't you agree, Diana?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So basically,
right?
First of all, never to actually memorize the speech ever,
Never.
ever, ever. Also, it's okay to bring a paper with you, but as long as this is not a full script, as long as it's just a sheet
exactly.
with the main points, so maybe with the main structure, for example, just so you don't forget what comes next, right?
Correct.
And what about the slides? Is it okay to look at the slides and read from there, or is that also a mistake?
I would say you can just look at the slides sometimes, but again, see, now what is the mistake what people are doing, I'll tell you. I have trained a lot of people in public speaking in this pandemic again, and even offline. So one of my mentees, she shared her PowerPoint presentations with me, the video of her, whereas she was again presenting it, and I saw in her slide that entire slide is filled with full of sentences, full of the things whatever she want to convey, and it is totally written. It's like paragraphs are written in the slides, and what happens that when you write word by word, even in your slide, there is again a high chance that you will get stick to the slides, and you will be reading through the slide, and your audience will be like, boss, we have in front of us, we can read it, right? We are here to listen, not to read. That's what the impression comes. That's important, that even if you're carrying a slide, there should be a word, maybe a 3 to 4 words, which just a bullet point, right? And just glance it, just look at once and go ahead, present it. If that's a problem, that if you feel, so it is important that whenever you're switching, use that pointer. Whenever you're switching, just see the slide, and just one glance, you can just see what is the next point I have to explain. That is what you can do, rather than putting all the paragraph on your slide.
Yeah, makes sense. Because otherwise you're just literally back to reading, right? Or worse, your
Correct.
audience is reading and not listening to you, but then what's the point of view, right?
Yes.
No,
yes.
Makes sense. By the way, guys, if while Sujatha is sharing with you her knowledge, if you get any questions whatsoever, please drop them in the chat. We will come back to every single question. So literally any type of issue you had when presenting in public, issue or worry, anything really, drop it in the chat. We will come back to it. All right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. So this has been very useful so far, Sujatha. And I have just one more question that also people keep on asking me when it comes to presenting on the stage. And that is, okay, so I'm there. I know my topic. Okay, I'm not reading from the slides. And then what am I supposed to do with these? Like what am I supposed to do with hands? How am I supposed to walk on the stage? Like, what am I supposed to do when I'm there to not look stupid?
Yes. Lot of people does this mistake, and when I'm training people, my mentees, it takes a lot of time for me to just work on their hand gestures, because a lot of people are doing hand gestures mistakes. Now, imagine that I'm sure that a lot of people in this pandemic, they would have opened the YouTube channel and they were looking for the videos, how we can make the dalgona coffee, or maybe how to make, people were also making pizzas at home, and a lot of cooking videos they were seeing. And as soon as you open that cooking videos, especially I have found this in those videos, like people say that, I hope you like my video. I hope you like my video. Now, what are they doing here? That they are finger pointing at their audience. Right? You don't have to finger point. Now you're doing it in the videos. Now imagine that you are in front of the large crowd and you do the same thing. Or maybe you're asking someone that, hey, yes, I was just talking to you. Can you please come on the stage? This is not a good gesture. Again, you are finger pointing at their audience. And if I finger point at someone, we will not feel good. They will not feel good. Right? Imagine that, Diana, I'm finger pointing at you. Will you feel good?
I would not like you, Sujatha, if you did that.
Right? Right? So we don't have to finger point at their audience, at our audience. Basically, instead of finger pointing, we just have to use the entire palm. Right? That makes more sense. Your palm should be open completely. It shows that you are ready to give, you are ready to take. Your palm should be open. It should not be with the back side. You don't have to show your back side. Your palm should be open. Like, yes, I was just talking to you. Can I please come on the stage? That's how the approach should be, right? And the next thing is that a lot of people, they keep their hand on the waist, right? Like a bossy feeling, right? You don't have to do that. Mostly we might have seen in the corporate that boss comes and, yes, team, we are going to talk about this today, right? We have one huddle today. That don't look good, right? The other thing with regards to the mistakes of hand gesture is that people fold their hands. There should not be any barrier between you and your audience. Your palm should be open, your body should be open, your hand should be open completely, right? You don't have to close your hand, you don't have to show your backside, you don't have to fold your hands. It should be open to express. That's what people are not doing it, right? And most common mistake, Diana, which people are doing is that this one, as soon as they go on the stage, this one, right? So audience don't know you're nervous. You are showing your audience through the body language. Like body language plays around 55% of the role, and you are expressing, your body language talks a lot. And when you're doing this, your audience can make out that, dude, she is nervous.
So you don't want to show that. You want to see as confident as you are, even if you're not inside, but just don't show them that you're nervous, right?
Yes. Pretend to be confident.
All right.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. No, sounds good. Sounds good. What about another one common one? They keep on putting them in their pockets. What about that?
Yes. You don't even have to keep your hands in the pocket. No, your hands should be open. It should be seen by their audience, right? Other than that, people also, especially ladies, when they are wearing a chain or something, neck wear, so they will play with the neck, right? The neck chain. You don't have to do that. Imagine that there are people in the corporate, yes, just like that. So imagine that people are in the corporate and they have the ID cards with them. They are wearing their ID card and they even play with the ID card like this, right? You don't have to do that. That's not a good gesture again. Now, if I talk about, okay, Sujatha, you told you don't have to keep your hand like this, or like this, you don't have to do this, or you don't have to keep your hands in the pocket, don't keep it backside, don't fold your hand, then what should I do with this hand? How will I control this hand? So now there are two hand gestures which you can follow, and that is one of the globally used hand gestures. Now what are they? That is firstly, which we call it as I am with you hand gesture, which is this, right? And this hand gesture should be straight to it should be in a 90 degree and it should be near your tummy, just right in front of your tummy, right? It should not be even like this here, right? Like this here. You don't have to keep over here. It should be right in front of your 90 degree in front of your tummy, right? This is one of the hand gestures which is globally used and people use it, and this is amazing and this is effective. Now, the second hand gestures which is globally followed by a lot of leaders are leader's position. This one, right? This one. Now, if I say people that go ahead with the leader's position, that means that they squeeze their hand like this and they'll be like this. No, you don't have to do that. So firstly, you just it should be to the tip of your finger and just like this, normally. And again, this should be right in front of your tummy with a 90 degree, not over here or not over here, right? It should be near your tummy, right? Imagine that you are on the stage and there are around maybe 5 to 6 participants or maybe 5 to 6 speakers on the stage, and the host or the anchor is talking to other participants, and we will be standing like this on the one hand like this or maybe like this, and we'll be thinking like this. Our hand gestures will be playing around because we think that nobody are observing us, but there are a lot of people who are observing you. We got to take care, and we should present ourselves in a proper manner. Even when you're waiting, even when you're on the stage and the host is talking to some other participants, even then go ahead with this hand gesture, that is I'm with you position or the leader's position. These are the things which I really follow and all my mentees do, right? This is amazing.
Nice. I think I saw Steve Jobs do that one every now and then at his presentation.
Steve Jobs.
He's talking about the new unbelievable Apple phone that's going to change the entire world, and he would just like kind of do that.
Yes, yes,
Cool,
absolutely.
so basically, just to summarize what you said, first of all, with the gestures, to make sure that they are open gestures in general. So things like that, things that are open. Also, if you want to do some more gestures, that's this gesture, 90 degrees in front of your tongue.
90 degrees. Yes.
And this leader's gesture as well. And things not to do is like doing this to show, like, because that shows that you're uncertain, putting hands in
Correct.
pockets, crossing hands, or pointing at people. So these are big no-nos when it comes to
Absolutely.
gesture.
Big no-no.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
No, that sounds
Absolutely.
amazing. Thank you, Sujatha. That's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. Diana, now that you are very good at storytelling again, so I would really like to know a few questions that I have for you again with regards to the storytelling, because you know that all the great speakers are very good storytellers. And if you don't master at storytelling, then you are going nowhere.
True.
Right? So I would like to know that, firstly, before I go ahead with what I have for you, that I would like to know what's your journey? How did you get started in your journey as a coach?
Sure thing. But by the way, guys, in the meantime, if you have any questions regarding public speaking, things that we have already covered, or maybe things we didn't cover, do drop us in the chat, because we will definitely come back to them. I don't think I saw
Absolutely.
any questions so far. So just also keep on observing.
Yes.
But yeah, keep on sending questions.
Yes.
With me, how did I start? Well, I started pretty poorly. I mean, I never, I guess the reason I started, and not with the coaching, but rather with the learning of social skills and things like that, is because I didn't have very good ones. So for example, even if you take school time, it was the time when I would be the kid who would always be sat in the corner, would never raise my hand. Even if I knew the answer, I would never raise my hand, so I don't have to speak in public. Because I would always be concerned, what will people think? You know, not even the teacher, but like my mates. And because of that, it was very difficult for me also to find new friends. So I was always like, in the same group, I'm fine, I'm with the same friend. But then I had to change schools a few times. And that was a disaster for me, literally disaster, because I didn't know how to approach people. I thought I would be very silly and stupid if I do that. So instead, I was waiting for somebody to come to me and kind of say, hi, do you want to be my friend? And literally, if that person did not come, I would not have any friends in that school. So pretty poor social skills, in my opinion. And that kind of, these things just continued even when I grew up, when I started to look for job interviews, for example. Even when I was literally the most qualified person in the intake, and I knew that because I was told so, even then, I would fail to impress somebody, my interviewer. And that would be not because of my knowledge or my lack of skills and things, but literally just because of the way I communicated and the way I did manage to make them believe in me, even though the CV was
Correct.
brilliant. So,
Correct.
you know, experience after experience, you realize that, you know what, that is really sending me behind. I could do so much more with my life if this was not an issue. And this is the time when I started just to look for opportunities. How to become better? How can I learn these skills? And the really, really cool thing that I learned is that they are called skills for a reason. I always thought that you're either born talkative and nice and charismatic, or you're born kind of shy and confident like I was. But it turned out that no. I mean, yes, some people are born with better skills, but actually, literally, every single person could develop them, even when they're adults. So that was a big mind blow for me. And this is what I started doing. And then eventually, just somehow people started to approach me to say, Diana, can you give us some tricks? Can you please help us as well? And that kind of led me to whole helping other people, and then also establishing Skillsme Academy.
Wow, wow. That was such an inspiring journey. And Diana, to be frank, I always and always get inspired by your journey. Even the last time when we spoke, and I always get inspired by you. And that was really, really, I can't believe that I'm talking to the same woman who was sitting in that corner today, the last time, and today she's speaking so confidently. So I love that again. Right, Diana, if I tell you one more thing, if I ask you one more thing, that when it comes to the public speaking, we need storytelling. We have to be very good at storytelling. So if you can help me, that what is the importance of storytelling in public speaking as per you?
So why storytelling is important for public speaking?
Why?
Yeah?
Yes.
All right, okay. So first of all, okay, you want to speak in public, right? You want to do well, okay. But then one thing is how you look and how confident you are and which gestures you make. But then that's all important. But what's more important is what you say, the content of your speech. That's the number one thing you should be thinking about, other than, oh, how confident I look and things like that. Now,
totally.
When you think of a content, now this content should impact other people, right? It should somehow touch them. It should somehow be memorable to them. And after you leave the stage, they should remember your presentation. Because very often you see a speaker speak for an hour sometimes. They leave the stage, after 5 minutes, you are like, you have no idea what they were talking about. Something kind of important. And storytelling is one of such tools for you to grab people's attention, connect on an emotional level with them, and also impact them. So for example, just like, let's say I just shared with you a story right now. Yeah, how I started. That was a mini story, and anybody can share stories. Yeah. True. And I'm guessing when you heard that story, it slightly impacted you emotionally. You imagined myself being in that corner of the room. Maybe you felt bad for me. I don't know. Maybe you saw yourself or your friends in that situation. So, these things started to happen in your head. And also, hopefully, because you heard it, maybe you started thinking like, oh my God, that means that even if I'm unconfident right now, that doesn't mean I'll be unconfident forever. It means that I can change. So all of these thoughts could have happened in your head just because I shared with you a story, even though at no point did I tell you, hey, you gotta speak confidently. Hey, you gotta get out there and go to courses. Hey, you gotta do this and that. I never told you that. All of these things potentially came to your head by themselves, and hopefully you'll even remember the story after this life, hopefully. So that's the importance of storytelling. It gets you to engage with people, stay memorable, connect emotionally, and also impact them, impact their actions after the presentation.
Absolutely. That was amazing, Diana. And storytelling is more important. Like you already mentioned, that it connects people emotionally. You engage your audience, right? And most important, that even though if you forget your speech on the stage, story is something which will save you.
Especially and especially the personal story. You remember it.
Personal story, right?
Yeah.
Right. You don't forget your stories, right? How can you even forget your own stories, right? So Diana, again, what happens that I have come across so many people, and they always complain that, ma'am, you have accomplished so much in your life, but I haven't accomplished anything, so I don't have any story to add on. Like, because I always keep telling them that you need to have a story in your speech. But they say that, ma'am, I don't have any story. How will I do that? I have not accomplished anything. I tell them, calm down. Now, if I tell you something in just 5 minutes, you're going to have n number of stories. So, Diana, you're an expert in this. So, how can someone find stories in their speech?
Okay, so how do you find stories for your speech? Now, yes. Please never say that, oh, nothing is happening in your life and you have no stories. Because you know what? Things are happening in your life every single day. And if you think of the definition of a story, it's a connected series of events. Now, these events could happen at any point. I literally could tell you a story about how I went to the supermarket earlier and I couldn't find, for example, any potatoes, so I had to change my entire menu plan. Now, it might be something silly and not so big, but then this is already a story. So you need to understand the stories are everywhere. Stories are just events that happen in your life. Now, another thing is finding the right story for a speech. And again, I assure you, you can do that. Your life is full of stories. All you need is sometimes to mark these important events in your life as they happen, because sometimes they happen and we forget.
Absolutely.
So, for example, what some storytellers do, and actually comedians do as well, is let's say a certain event has happened to them. Let's say comedians who also tell stories really well, yeah? And let's say they had a horrific experience of crossing the border somewhere, like at the airport. So instead of just skipping that whole experience and then moving on, no, they will note it down in their notebook, special notebook for stories and for jokes. They will note down that, in December something, I had a very, very miserable journey, and they will write down the main points. Maybe not the whole story, just the main points. And then they will save that for themselves because they know this could be material that could make them millions potentially. And this is something potentially you could do as well. Just note down events that had an impact on your life. Doesn't have to be just bad experience at the airport. It depends what kind of presentations you give. If you're giving inspiring presentations, then it's things that have impacted your life a lot, made you change your opinion about certain things. And these things happen all the time. Or it could be just a funny experience that you want to tell to your friends later. Again, you can note it down. So basically the idea is that stories are everywhere and your life is full of stories. In fact, your life is
full of stories.
It's just a question of highlighting what is a story worth telling for future and not forgetting it. And a notebook is one of the ways you could do that. With time, you might not even need the notebook. You will start doing it automatically, just noticing, oh, this is worth telling to friends, for example.
Absolutely. That's amazing, Diana. And Diana, what happens basically that when people are giving their presentations at their office using a lot of statistics and everything, and they believe that I have so much to tell, I have so much to cover today, I cannot do, story is something it's going to take a lot of my time. I cannot do that, right? But if you add stories, see, remember that even in the statistic, you can create a kind of stories, right? Stories, like you mentioned, that stories are everywhere. You need to add stories. If you keep everything technical, it's not going to work. Your audience are not going to listen to you, right? That's one of the amazing things you told, right, Diana? That's really, really helpful. And Diana, what happens that when we are creating a stories, we know that we all have stories in our life. Life is full of stories. But what is the proper format that you use personally or you train your students when it comes to storytelling?
All right. So if you want your story to be interesting, now, of course, there's loads of materials on this, and we could use a whole course on this. So I can't tell you in one live everything about it. But in a nutshell, one tip that I can give all of you is that if you center your story around a problem, that will make the story much more interesting. Here is an example. I can tell you a story about my day where literally nothing happened. And I'm like, oh, I woke up quite sleepy. I had a shower. I was still sleepy and I had to do a lot of work. And that's it. That's my story. That's probably quite a boring story. But then if I center the story about a key problem that happened during the day, for example, how my phone broke just before the live. So that could be a much more interesting story for you to listen to. So basically try to make something that went wrong the center of your story. Spend most time describing that thing and less time, basically intro and outro, less time describing things that, events that were not so interesting or not so bad, let's say. It doesn't mean that all stories should be negative or anything like that. No, not at all. But even the movies, if you watch them, literally every single movie is centered around some problem that the main character is facing. And your verbal stories can be exactly the same. So that's my number one tip. That's what's gonna make people really interested to hear, oh, so what happened next? Oh, so what did you do? Oh, that's interesting. So you want these reactions from people rather like that, oh yeah, no, I got it. It's boring. Nothing is happening there. All right?
Yes. So basically we got to add struggles in our stories, and that's make interesting.
Exactly.
Right? And one more thing, Diana, what happens that I've seen a lot of people doing this, that they come across stories, they even tell stories. They know that adding stories can create my speech more impactful. I'll be called as an effective speaker. But the point over here is that they forget to give moral of the story. They forget to mention the message in the story. Right?
That's true. That's true. I'm just looking through questions here, Sujatha. And I think I found one question here, but yeah, no, sorry, keep on talking. Sorry.
Yes, that is all, Diana. And you had explained it so well that people can make any kind of stories now. Now people are clear with how they can create a stories.
Yeah, no, guys, do use this and do use this in your future presentations. Yes. So one of the questions we have here, by the way, if you have questions, we're close to the end of our live. So if you have questions, please send them in the chat right now, or else you'll miss the opportunity. And here is one of the questions coming from Dihayas, I think. So the question is, what are soft skills? What is included in soft skills? All right. So, Sujatha, would you mind if I answer that question since we're Skillsme soft skills?
Sure, no worries. Go ahead.
There is a division between two types of skills. There are hard skills and there are soft skills. Let's go with hard skills first. Hard skills, typically, they are more, so think of engineering skills. Think of maybe accounting skills. So some sort of technical things that you learn. Most often, the education systems around the world focus on the hard skills. So giving you some technical skills so you can perform better later at work, for example. Now, there is another set of skills, which is called soft skills. Now, that is not technical knowledge. So that's not programming, for example. But it's also skills that are important for your life. For example, the skill of speaking in public, that would be considered as a soft skill. And very often it's not really taught so much at schools or universities, very often anyways, depending where you're from. Also, it could be the skill of generally any communication skill. For example, being assertive, that would be a soft skill. Being persuasive, that's a soft skill. But actually, it extends to way beyond just communication skills, and even skills like productivity, and time management is also considered to be a soft skill.
A soft skill.
So it's a skill that's very important for your life. You need to manage your time, but that's nothing like programming. It's a different type of skills. So I hope that answers your question. It's just a type of skills.
Yes.
That's very often not taught by traditional education.
Absolutely, Diana, that you have answered it so well. And we have one more question over here from Archana, who asked that how to remove nervousness.
Yeah, you go.
Right? Yes. So see, like we already spoke about this topic, right? At the beginning, Archana, we already spoke about this topic, whereas that we got to understand that nervousness or the fear is something which is normal, right? So prepare well whenever you're offered a time. That say, for example, you are given 2 days of time for your preparation. So make sure you prepare well, right? Now that doesn't mean that you memorize it, which we have already covered. Preparation is one of the very good key that you don't go nervous on the stage. You have that fear. Why are you nervous? Because you have that fear of forgetting. You have that fear of making mistakes. You have that fear of that the boss is sitting right in front of me and people are here, have come to judge me. See, nobody are there to judge you. People are there to listen to you, right? Nobody has so much of time to waste their time and money and come here and judge you. You got to understand this. You have something in you. That's the reason you are on the stage and they are in the audience. You got to understand. So remove this lot of things in your mind that I am nervous, right? I'm sorry, bear with me, I'm not well today. Give me a minute. And the next thing is, what happens that why are you nervous? You consider, imagine that you are invited for any kind of talk and you consider the opposite person as a superior than you. Maybe it can be in terms of the experience, it can be in terms of the age, right? Anything for that matter. You consider the opposite person as superior than you, and you undervalue yourself. You consider yourself as an inferior, and that's where you go low. Your mind is thinking a lot that the person right in front of me, he is amazing, he has a lot of experience and I don't have. So that's where what happens, that your focus is going towards that, and you're not focusing upon yourself, your content, and your audience, right? You're thinking something else. Your entire focus should be on you, your content and your audience, not even on you, right? You also go nervous. Lot of time what happens at Diana, that lot of people, they dress up, like they dress to impress, but they have to dress to make themselves feel comfortable. When you are dressed up well, you will not have time to think, oh my god, my watch is not good, oh my god, my hair is not looking nice, I don't look beautiful. So when you think about yourself, you become a self-conscious about yourself, and you turn to be a self-centric speaker. And that's where you don't present yourself confidently. Right? So I hope there is lot of things to tell when it comes to removing your nervousness, right? The only key, I would say, that prepare well, practice well. That means don't memorize, understand your speech. If possible, use the cheat sheet and then go further, add personal stories. Yeah. You'll be more confident.
Nice. Wow. You're very knowledgeable about this, Sujatha. And I really like this, that instead of focusing on everything else around you, just focus on your speech and what you need to deliver to people. That's the number one thing you need to focus on. And then you won't have time to even be nervous about other things, because you're just focused here.
Yes. Yeah. And there was one of the incidents that happened, Diana, that one of my mentees from Africa, around, I have a habit of working late night, so around 3 o'clock in the AM, so he just messaged me that, Sujatha, I need to get on a call. I was like, okay, let's get on a call. And he was like, Sujatha, I am the organizer of my college. I meet directors, I organize events, I have to host the meetings, I have to host the event, a lot of things I do. But the thing is, I don't know why I'm not satisfied with the way I present myself. I'm not satisfied why, I don't know. I told him just one thing to do. Tomorrow, you have one of the event. You are going to do exact the way I'm going to tell you. And he's like, okay, what's that? So I told that tomorrow, dress up the way that makes you feel comfortable and confident, and that will not make you rethink about your own self. And he's like, okay, let's do it. Let's see if that works. And the next day, again, around 2:30, 3 o'clock, he just called me and told Sujatha, I have a good news for you. And I'm like, what's that? So he's like, you know what? In my entire journey till now, I have never experienced this. You know what? I got standing ovation today for the first time in my life. I was like, wow, how did you do that? And like, Sujatha, do you remember you told dress up well? Don't think about yourself, think about the message and the audience. And that's what I did. And that's where I was able to present myself confidently, right? So this actually works. Your dressing sense matters a lot. You don't have to become a self-centric speaker. You have to become an audience-centric speaker. Why are you on the stage? Because to guide audience, to pass the information to the audience, right? It is audience, it is not you.
For example, yeah.
Exactly.
No, sounds great.
I have so many. Yeah, we have one more question over here from Sachin. He says that I have so many grammatical problems in my speech, so please give me solutions for mentors. Okay. So first thing is that public speakers cannot help you with regards to spoken English. You have to get in touch with English teachers. And second thing is that a lot of people, they say that I'm not good at English, so I cannot become a speaker. I was like, what did you just say? And I'm like, see, even you can become a speaker without English. You can even become speaker using the language that you are speaking right now at your home, the local language what you're talking at home, right? So even you can become a speaker in that language. It is not mandatory that you have to learn English. Even you can become a speaker in your own languages, right? And if you feel that I need to master that English, then hire an English teacher who can help you out on this. But remove this myth that I need to become a good speaker. If I need to become a good speaker, I need to master that English. That's no. That's a myth again.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. There was actually another question also about English earlier, like how to become fluent in English. But I guess this is the same answer. Like as public speakers, we can't really help you with that. However, it doesn't mean, it really doesn't mean that you can't be a good presenter. In fact, I have observed so many people who were very good experts in their field and very also famous and very interesting, and my English was better than theirs, even though it's like my fourth language or something. And you know what? Maybe a thought occurred once during the presentation, oh, that guy's English maybe is not so great, but then it would go out of my head immediately when I realized that the content is so interesting. I couldn't care less about their English. Just keep on talking, please. I want to learn from you.
There is a mantra called as confidence. See, if you present something confidently, your English language, nobody even thinks about how are you telling, what are the mistakes that you did, right? Confidence matters a lot. The way you present yourself matters a lot.
And right? What you say as well, if it's interesting as well. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what. So language in public speaking is not a barrier. Language is not a barrier. You can become speaker in any language. You got to understand this.
Yeah. No.
Right.
All right. Yeah, we'll check him out. Thank you. All right, guys. So it looks like we're coming to the end of our live. If you have any last minute questions, do send them. But if not, then I would like to wrap it up, Sujatha, if that's all right with you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Diana, again for inviting. And it was really nice conversation with you again today. So thank you so much. It was nice having you. And thank you, audience, for joining in. If you guys were not here, we would have not made it successful.
Absolutely.
So all the best.
Absolutely. Yes. Sujatha, just before we both go, any advice for people here where they could learn more about public speaking tips or maybe things that you do? Where can they find these things?
Yes. So basically, I'm coming up with a coaching program of mine, a group coaching program. So people who want to join in, they can just DM me as a PS public speaking, or I want to learn from you, then I can take you through the process again, right? So that's one thing I can do. So I'm having a lot of stuff again coming for all of you people on this page, right? So that is all. And one piece of advice before we wrap up, Diana, I would like to give you all is that hire a mentor. Don't try to do everything by your own self. It's going to get delayed. You're going to get results maybe after 2 years or maybe who knows after 4 years, right? But if you hire a mentor, she or he can give you results in just 1.5 to 2 months. And you can even start getting your paid speaking gigs. That's what we got to understand, that people tell me one thing, Diana, that what I ask them, that what I have to try to become very good at public speaking. They said that, Sujatha, I read books, I practice in front of mirror. People say this two to three things, right? Tell me one thing. Can you master public speaking by reading books? You may get techniques, you may get tips, but you will become good at reading, but you cannot become good at public speaking. When you want to become good at public speaking, then you have to face public. You have to come in front of public again and again. Can you learn swimming if you have a fear of water? No. So if you want to master at public speaking, you have to face the fear by being in front of public.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with you, Sujatha. And actually, same thing from my end here. So a lot of students here also read books, watch videos about how to become better at conversations with people. But the thing is, we're like, guys, you know what? Until you actually speak with people, you won't learn a thing. And if you can join some educational courses or have a mentor, that would really speed up your process. not a book, but an actual person to chat to. So for example, if you want to learn public speaking, here you've got Sujatha. Subscribe to Public Speaking Tips and DM her about this new coaching program. And if you would like to become better at interpersonal communication and become a better storyteller, then subscribe to Skillsme Academy and check out our Connect with Anyone course. You will see it in the link in bio. We also have free classes. They're called Storytellers Gym. Check that out. It's a free class where we learn how to tell stories. I think this is it for today. Thank you so much for joining all of us, and have a fantastic day. And we wish you best of luck in becoming fantastic speakers and public speakers. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you, everyone.